All right, we're back, Truth Seekers. We're on page 229. We're covering I'm just gonna recap real quick. I think I got two presidents. So the 8 presidents to die in office. That's what we're covering here. Remember, Jesuit is 42 in reverse reduction. G in the Freemason logo is 42 in Satanic. Freemasons 42 in reduction. G is 42 in Sumerian. Satanism is 42 in a single reduction. So then, before we get to the first president to die in office, I want to talk about the first presidential assassination attempt, which was a failed attempt on the 7th president, Andrew Jackson, when he was 67 years old, on the date January 30th, 1835, emphasis on the year 35, the number connecting to Catholic, and also connecting to JFK, number 35, the last president to die in office. At the time of writing this book, JFK was also the only Catholic president. The date numerology of the attempt also equates to 84, and as we learned, both Jesuits and the Jesuit order summed to 84. A number also connected to Masonry and United States of America in a big way, as we learned earlier. The date also had a numerology of 21, another number representing the gematria of Jesuit. The math follows. Jesuits 84 in ordinal, like the date numerology there, and it's 21 in reduction. So there's a connection there between the first presidential assassination attempt. The number 44, representing kill in ordinal gematria, also factors into the number 84. The divisors of the number 44 equates to 84, and throughout history you find these numbers paired together. Barack Obama, the 44th president, had an August 4th birthday, or 8-4, and in Jewish gematria the name Obama equates to 84. In the chapter on the race war, you'll learn how this contrived puppet name, which is exactly what the name Barack Hussein Obama was truly a tribute to the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, who were both killed by the 44 Code. Of course, his name was also a mocking of the two men wrongly blamed for 9/11, Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein. Could it have been more obvious? Back on the subject of Andrew Jackson's assassination attempt, it was blamed on Richard Lawrence, who was deemed to be mentally ill. Throughout history, the synagogue has chosen people who aren't in their right minds to become the patsies of their stage events. It is a sick tactic and an easy one to understand for why it is done this way. For starters, people with a few screws loose are often easily manipulated. And second, because they have a few screws loose, people won't think otherwise when they are blamed. Understand, no one is saying the long noses aren't clever. As for patsies chosen throughout history, they always have the names to match what they're accused of. In the case of Richard Lawrence, his name sums to 79, matching the synagogue of Satan, and murder, a number we are becoming more familiar with. For the record, the number 79 is also this 22nd prime, the number that is the master builder. In this case, the synagogue are master builders of false and contrived narratives. Richard Lawrence is 79 in reduction. The name also equates to 137, having a gematria parallel to Washington, D.C., where the assassination attempt supposedly took place. 137. House painter. Remember the Navy and the Punch, Alexandria, Hickory, Fredericksburg, Steamboat, arsenic, periodic table, arsenic poisoning, Federal Reserve, and death of William. This is the first one now. The first president to die in office was William Henry Harrison on April 4th, 1841. 1 month into his term, or a span of 4 weeks and 4 days, when he was found dead, like 44, and having his death blamed on illness. Like, it seems like you're ill when you have arsenic poisoning. Making matters even more interesting, he died 54 days after his 68th birthday, which was February 9th, 1841. The number 54 corresponds with the Jesuit order, where in reduction gematria the name sums to 54 as follows. There it is. The date of April 4th is also the 94th day of the year. Our number that, when written out as a word, 94, has gematria of 147, matching U.S. President of the United States, Freemason, and conspiracy, among other related words. Consider the book 1984 begins on the date April 4th, and number 84 has much to do with Jesuits. Like 44, the divisors of 44 equates 84. The Jesuit Order and United States of America, for a new one to add to the list, killing, when the letter K is capitalized, has Frank Baconus gematria of 147 as follows. As for being 68 years old, that is a number you will come to understand is found often around death. Traditionally, caskets go 6 feet deep and are 8 feet long. The year of his death, 41, is also fascinating. As we learned, this is a special number to the USA, which began with 13 colonies. And on the flag, 13 stars and 13 stripes, where the number 41 is the 13th prime. In ordinal gematria, please recall USA sums to 41. And the word star in reduction is 13. In addition to the deadly numbers already decoded, William Henry Harrison was a name with fateful gematria, summing to 118, yet another number of death, and one that is commonplace in ritualistic killing over the centuries. 118 in reverse reduction, death 118 in Jewish gematria. In ALW Kabbalah, his name also yielded to the gematria of 223. There it is. It should be noted that he was the first Whig president, the part that would later become the Republicans. As we learned, Republican and Democrat have gematria 47, a very special number in the nation's capital. Not by surprise, Whig shares the same gematria value in the ordinal method. So we got Republican 47 in reduction, Democrat 47 in reverse full reduction, Whig 47 in ordinal. And then I saw a cop car. I just remembered that police is 33. So Whig as a word also has gematria of 187, a fateful number. Beyond that, it sums to 41, matching the year of his passing. It also equates to 93, the number of Satan connected to death, judgment, and time, where time equates to 47 in ordinal and 187 in satanic. And there it all is right there, like murder is 93 in ALW Kabbalah. Adding to the list of fateful numbers was the numerology of the date of death, equating to 67, the number representing blood sacrifice. 4 plus 4 plus 18 plus 41, 67. Blood sacrifice, 67 in reduction. Replacing Harrison after his death was John Tyler, who became the 10th president. The name John Tyler was perfect in gematria terms for assuming the presidency on April 4th. 44, John Tyler in reverse reduction. John Tyler had turned 51 years old March 29th, 1841. 144 hours before the date of the death of Harrison. Recall how the number 50, so it's his birthday, and 144 hours later, boom, William Henry Harrison dies. Recall how the number 51 connects to federal, conspiracy, and more, and at the same time how the number 144 connects to time and killer. Tyler would die later in history on January 18th, 1862, emphasis on 118, not unlike 118. That date can also be written 18-1, something like 181, which is the 42nd prime number, the very important number to Freemasonry. Recall, he was the 10th president, and he replaced the 9th. Both numbers, when written now, as having gematria of 42. The year 62 also connects to the word Mason. 9's 42 in ordinal, 10's 42 in ordinal. So here we are, this is where we left off. Death of Zachary Taylor, July 9th, 1850. 9 years after the 9th president, Zachary Taylor would become the next to die in office, the 12th. It is said he saw the Civil War that was coming and was negotiating years in advance to stop the needless bloodshed as he perceived it. According to history, he became ill on July 4th, 1850, after drinking raw milk and stuffing himself full of fruits, before dying July 9th. In the chapter on murder by numbers, we'll talk about the deaths of 3 of the first 5 presidents on July 4th, those being John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, who passed the same day in 1826, and James Monroe, who passed in perfect coordination with their deaths in 1831. 1,826 days after the passing of his presidential predecessors. Please don't forget that in ordinal gematria, killing and Masonic equates to 74, and the word murder sums to 79. Also summing to the number 79 is Zachary Taylor, who couldn't have died on a more perfect date. In all likelihood, Taylor was poisoned with arsenic, and after battling for a number of days, was finished off intentionally, as so many had done to them in this unnecessarily cruel world. The Masonic murdering dictatorship, where in the case of the United States, it was born out of a genocide of the natives. As we decode, it is important to note that Zachary Taylor was 65 years old at the time of his passing, and his name also has reduction gematria of 65. Zachary Taylor, 79 in reverse reduction and 65 in reduction. "65, like the date he died, or the how old he was when he died." In the Chaldean and septenary ciphers, his name was very fateful as well. Recall in ordinal gematria, death sums to 38. And in both septenary and Chaldean, Zachary Taylor equates to 38. Like death. Independently, Zachary and Taylor equate with kill in addition to the fateful numbers 38, the 38's associated. Before we decode, recall that in ordinal gematria, kill equates to 44, and in reverse reduction, kill sums to 28. Zachary's 44 in a single reverse reduction, Taylor's 28 in reduction. Recall the divisors of the number 44 sum to 84, and Taylor would die on a date having numerology of 84, bringing us back to the Jesuits, with regards to 50 being his year of passing. Let us not forget that America has gematria of 50, and United States of America equates to 84. And July 9th, 1850, 7 plus 9 plus 18 plus 50 is 84. Like Jesuit. Also important, it's like they're being exposed, right? It's the Bible verse, Luke chapter 8, verse 17. "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and it's nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." Also Matthew chapter 10, verse 26. "So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." The New Living Translation, "For the time is coming when everything that is covered will be revealed, and all that is secret will be made known to all." Also Luke chapter 12, verse 2. Let's check out the Mr. King James. "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." So my point here is, even if they're not purposefully contriving these events by the code, maybe it's all organic, and the numbers are exposing the true cause. They can tell you any story they want in the mainstream media, but if you decipher everything with this code of gematria, this language of gematria, it uncovers the secrets. It exposes the truth. That's not a coincidence, right? The statistics class, it's like, okay, what really happened? This is what they're saying. Let's decode this guy's name. Oh, it's got gematria of 84, like Jesuit. Oh, maybe they're connected to it, right? So, also important, Taylor would die 227 days after his November 24th, 1849 birthday. Of course, 227 is the number that is connected to pi, like cycles and circles, not unlike life and death, because 22 divided by 7 is the closest close to pi. Also intriguing is that 227 is the 49th prime number, and he celebrated his last birthday in 49. America equals 49 in reverse reduction. On the date of his death, it was 138 days to his upcoming birthday, a number connecting to federal as well. You could also say it was a span of 139 days, connecting to America and Freemasonry. The 13th president, Millard Fillmore, would replace Zachary Taylor the day of his passing. Interestingly, the name Millard has satanic gematria of 314, not unlike pi and 3.14, the result of dividing the number 22 by the number 7. Millard is 314 in satanic. So also interesting, the name Millard has reduction gematria of 33, and Frank Baconis gematria of 137, where 137 is the 33rd prime, and both numbers being very special to Washington, D.C., the federal city where Taylor died. Connecting further, Taylor was in his 16th month of being president when it came to an end due to his death. When you write out 16 in reduction gematria, it sums to 33 as well. And it reminds that the next president to die in office would be number 16, Abraham Lincoln. Millard 33 in reduction, 16 is 33 in reduction. Millard is 137 and Frank Baconis. Of course, M is the 13th letter, and Millard became the 13th president. As we know, this is a special number to the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and the name Millard Fillmore had gematria to fit the bill. 78 in reduction and 159 in ordinal. Scottish Rite is 78 in reverse reduction. Jesuit is 78 in reverse ordinal. And Scottish Rite is 159 in reverse ordinal. Connects perfectly to Millard Fillmore. Fillmore would end up dying at age 74 on March 8th, 1874, a date that can be written as 38 or 83, much like 38 or 83, where both numbers are connected to the word murder. Again, the patterns throughout history are undeniably repetitive. As we'll get to in the corresponding chapter ahead, it isn't coincidental the song Murder by Numbers was released in 1983, emphasis on 83, by the band The Police. In the same way, it is not coincidental a song exists called Gematria, the Killing Name. As a reminder, both Gematria and Killing have gematria of 74. Millard never got to hear these songs. Murder by Numbers, the song was released in 1983, like murder is 83 in reverse ordinal. Like Fillmore would die on March 8th, like 8-3, 83. The song Gematria, the Killing Name, both equate to 74 in ordinal, Gematria and Killing, and also 38, like the reflection of 83. Also worth mentioning is that Millard became president 183 days after his 50th birthday on January 7th, 1850. The name Abe Lincoln has reverse ordinal gematria of 183. And Lincoln would be the next president to die in office by very similar numbers as Zachary Taylor, dying in 1865, emphasis on 65, where Taylor passed at age 65. Consider further, Taylor was trying to stop the Civil War, and Lincoln died as a result of the Civil War. Something else to think about, as perfectly scripted as all of these deaths are, is that perhaps all this time we have been lied to, and these presidents haven't really died, but instead it has all been part of the show, if you will, our scripted history by the numbers. As we continue you on, you'll see how perfectly it all works out, again and again, seemingly too perfect at times. Abe Lincoln is 183 in reverse ordinal. Like Millard became president 183 days after his 50th birthday. So we've got William Henry Harrison, who died on April 4th, 1841. He was the 9th president and the first to die in office. Then we got Zachary Taylor, who died on July 9th, 1850. 9 years after the 9th president. Zachary Taylor would become the 2nd president to die in office. He was the 12th president. So here's a quick recap here. William Henry Harrison was the first to die in office. Zachary Taylor is the 2nd to die in office. Abraham Lincoln was the 3rd to die in office, and also the 1st president to be assassinated. That's what we're talking about now. 15 years after Taylor, Lincoln would be killed, the man credited with saving the Union. In terms of U.S. history, Lincoln was the first credited presidential assassination, right? The first credited. The other two just happened to die in office from drinking raw milk and eating fruit, or just becoming ill, like the 33rd element of the periodic table, also summoned at 33, arsenic. As you'll recall, United States of America, so there's the date numerology of his death. 4 plus 15 plus 18 plus 65 equals 102, and 4 plus 15 plus 65 equals 84, our number connecting to Jesuits, 84. As you'll recall, United States of America has gematria of 84 and 102. Better than that, the Civil War began April 12, 1861, the 102nd day of the year, and the word slavery also has gematria of 102. It is Lincoln in the history books that is often credited for freeing the slaves. 102 in ordinal slavery. As for the 84, as we know, that is the number of the Jesuit order, right? The conspirator in the Lincoln assassination that is often omitted from history books is John Harrison Surratt, Jr., born April 13th, 1844, the same birthday as Guy Fawkes, who is connected to the Jesuit order. Also 44, the divisors of 44 equate to 84, 44 kill, Jesuit 84. So Guy Fawkes, so he's connected to the Jesuit order. And John Harrison Surratt, Jr., born April 13th, 1844, who escaped the United States after the death of Lincoln and was protected by the Catholic Church until the statute of limitations expired in the United States for his arrest in connection with the death of the president. Something fascinating about his name is that in reduction gematria, it equates to 105, similar to how Lincoln expired on the 105th day of the year, April 15th. As we learned in ordinal gematria, both Zionism and Masonry sum to 105 as well. John Harrison Surratt, Jr., 105 in reduction. For an even more impressive connection to 84, Abraham Lincoln equates 84 in reverse reduction, like Jesuit. As we have learned, the divisors of the number 44 when added equal to 84, and the name Abraham sums to 44 in ordinal gematria. Even better, his nickname, Honest Abe, has reduction gematria of 35, and when S is made to be 10, also 44, like how JFK was number 35, but also the 44th term president. Abraham's 44 in ordinal, Honest Abe is 44 in a single reduction. For even more fateful gematria, Lincoln and murder equate in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers, where both are 34 in reduction, 38 in reverse reduction, and 79 in ordinal. Where Lincoln differs in reverse ordinal, his name sums to 110, similar to how president totals 110 in ordinal. It reminds how the name Adolf Hitler equates to 110 in ordinal gematria, and Hitler was born on April 20th, the 110th day of the Gregorian calendar year. Both Lincoln and Hitler were blamed for wars, and both men died in suspicious fashion at the end of the wars they were blamed for, and in the month of April, at the age of 56. In ordinal gematria, April equates to 56, similar to how president sums to 56 in reduction, when S is counted for 10. Also interesting is that the name Abraham Lincoln in ordinal gematria is a perfect match with conspiracy, summing to 123. In terms of questioning if any of these killings have really happened, consider an actor in a theater killed Lincoln. Think about it. On the subject, you've likely heard the comparisons between the deaths of Lincoln and Kennedy from conspiracy researcher Jordan Maxwell. If not, they go like this. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. Consider Kennedy was killed at age 46, and in reverse reduction, both Abraham and Catholic equate to 46. Of course, JFK is the lone Catholic president to date. In reverse ordinal gematria, Catholic and Lincoln both equate as well, summing to 145. Also, as we have covered, sacrifice as reduction gematria of 46. Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice, and in Hebrew, both murder and kill equates to 46 too. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Regarding the year 60 in reduction gematria, Abraham Lincoln sums to 60, and in reduction, when S is counted for 10, conspiracy also equates to 60. The word order also has ordinal gematria of 60, same as the word police. I bring up the police because the Secret Service, the police for the president and federal government, was signed into existence the same day Lincoln was shot, April 14th, 1865. The names Lincoln and Kennedy each contain 7 letters. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost their children while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. In the case of Lincoln, he was shot on April 14th, the 104th day of the year, a special number to U.S. history, and one you will learn more about in the chapter on September 11th. For now, consider Lincoln was shot on Good Friday, summing to 104 in ordinal. Good Friday is 104 in ordinal, like that, 10-4, over and out. Like April 14th, 2/23/1861 was the date of first assassination attempt on Lincoln. And that's 104. And then April 4th, 7/4, July 4th, the 4th of July, 1776 equals 104. Both were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary, Kennedy, warned him not to go to Ford's Theater. Kennedy's secretary, Lincoln, warned him not to go to Dallas. Southerners assassinated both and Southern vice presidents. Southerners assassinated both, and Southern vice presidents named Johnson succeeded both. Andrew Johnson would become 17th president 107 days after his 56th birthday. President equals 56 in a single reduction. Andrew equals 65. Andrew Johnson equals 65 in reverse reduction. He would become president in 65. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth was born in 1839, Lincoln's credited assassin. Lee Harvey Oswald was born in 1939, Kennedy's credited assassin. On the subject of the number, recall that masonry and secrecy both equate to 39 in reverse reduction. As we know, JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason, and Lincoln was killed in Ford's Theater, where the gematria of the structure corresponds with Freemasonry, as covered, equating to 58. That becomes all the more intriguing when you realize the play Lincoln was watching was called Our American Cousin, which debuted October 15, 1858 in New York, emphasis on 58. Exactly 339 weeks before Lincoln's assassination, where the number 339 corresponds with United States of America. United States of America equals 339 in reverse ordinal. Oh my gosh, I wasn't recording all this time. Crap. Where did I leave off? I don't know. Dang it.